There's a poll that came out this week that the Trump campaign, Dan Scavino and others pushed out, that shows after the second debate, Trump goes up 5 points and everybody but Nikki Haley goes down as well, right? So the first two debates, the unequivocal winner is Donald Trump. He doesn't show up. I've said this from the beginning. It would have been dumb for him to do it. He knows, I mean, like, again, that aside, it's proof positive that everyone who's saying don't go was right. The only people who want him to go are, you know, the never Trumpers, the Washington Post, et cetera. He's winning. The more debates that happen, he does better. Well, then Trump, his team, La Savita and Susie Wiles, put out a statement saying the RNC should cancel the Miami debate that'll either happen at the end of October or the beginning of November. And my point is, why? You've benefited every time these people have done this. That tactic to me actually looked weak. It looked like, if I were him, I would have said, hey, start having a debate every week.
Or indict me every week, right? The same thing happens. He goes up in the polls. I think, you know, Sean, you know, you worked with the man more than I know him, but look, he knows they're not going to cancel the debates. But he's just out there spouting, and he's making his point, basically saying, I'm the gorilla in the room. Nobody can beat me. You might as well cancel all this now. He knows they're not going to cancel, and he knows he goes up every time they have one. So I think this was just President Trump being President Trump.
Larry?
Maybe, but I also think that if there's going to be a debate where DeSantis, his closest rival, the only one within sort of striking
60
distance,
points,
if he's going to have a good debate, it's going to be in hometown turf in his state of Florida, where he just won by double digits, especially in Miami, where he's flipped that area from being pretty solid Democrat to Republican. I think he's just trying to preemptively maybe suggest and undermine the performance that DeSantis could possibly have. But I'll say this is Ron's last chance, isn't it? I mean, if he doesn't score big and really move the needle in this hometown, home court advantage.
Yeah, but I don't know that there's I don't know that you get a home court advantage because you're in a theater or whatever, or University of Miami. Like, it's not like somehow the audience, like the Reagan Library could have been anywhere that had a backdrop.
Sean, you know,
but if it's going to be a crowd like in Wisconsin, the crowd could make a difference.
His last stand is Newsom. It's the Newsom debate.
Actually,
that's his last stand.
Let me get to that in a second. I think that's a great point you're bringing up, Grant. But I just want to say this. So where do you think? Look, I think that Grant's point is right, though, that the RNC can't cancel debates. It has to go through the process. So you'll have this Miami one. They got to have one before New Hampshire and before Iowa. Frankly, they're for posterity, meaning they have to set the precedent that going forward, the party controls these things. And I'm fine with that. But I wonder, I mean, I've always said if President Trump sweeps these early states, Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina, it's over, right? And so what do you think that these debates, I mean, I feel like I get it. We got to go through the motions and have them, but they almost feel like they're pointless. It's a show, not an exercise in informing voters, Grant.
Yeah, I mean, these are debates for who's going to be the Secretary of Commerce, maybe, because it's not going to be Vice President. It's not going to be it's not going to be anything other than maybe a cabinet position. I'm just absolutely really upset watching the whole field. I thought we had a deep bench as Republicans, and I'm looking at this field thinking we got a bunch of dorks, losers, wimps, and wussies.
Larry?
I wouldn't go that far. I'll say this. I think that you go through this process for a couple of reasons. First of all, anything can happen, you guys. I mean, the Democrats aren't having any debates, and I don't know about you, but every time I see Joe Biden, I think he's one step closer to not being on the ticket or even not making it through his final year and a half in office. So you got to go through this process because if, God forbid, something were to happen, you want to make sure that you've got things lined up. We're also, yes, looking at potential other roles for these people, but I don't know. I'm with you, Sean. I mean, the second they took Asa Hutchinson off the stage, I lost interest. You know, I had Asa fever for the last.
I know, but at least you got Doug Burgum hanging in there for you.
You know what? He's starting to win me over.
Yeah.
The crazy thing was, I thought Doug Burgum did the best of the whole bunch.
He actually did in L.A. You're right.
So let me ask
who's this guy?
Let me ask you a silly question. So, as I said, according to and this is just one poll. It was a national poll. Everyone knows I don't. National polls they show some nice momentum, maybe, but that they're meaningless. We don't run national primaries and we don't run national elections. That being said, the one that the donor class seems hyped on is Nikki Haley. She tweeted out this photo the other day of a bird cage with bird seed because apparently Trump is now calling her like some bird thing. And I want to ask you, like, the thing that I thought was fascinating about this is a lot of people online question whether it was real. So she was saying this was outside my hotel room. And a lot of people said, seems a little suspicious that it actually happened. And then the thing that I thought was interesting is that someone put the Trump campaign in Sharpie. Normally, if that had happened, like, I mentioned La Savita or Jason Miller, Stephen, all these people on the Trump campaign would have posted something and said, hey, we left something for Nikki Haley or something. I thought that it was an interesting thing because no one reacted to Nikki Haley. Like, the Trump campaign didn't preemptively try to take credit for it, nor did they react to it. And so I'm trying to figure out, was this her trying to do a head fake? Was this that? I was trying to figure out what this was all about. Any thoughts on that, Grant?
No, Nikki Haley has been, to me, somewhat of a disappointment, just like Ron DeSantis. These are people that I really liked and really thought highly of along the way. They'd falter a little bit here or there, but now they're just total disappointments. I just think it shows her lack of relevance on social media with the crowd that flourishes there. She just doesn't have any yank with them. And so I think people see something like that. Is it a stunt? Is it not a stunt? I don't know.
Yeah,
Probably.
Everything from Carly Fiorina's camp, for the most part, has seemed really rehearsed and programmed and just painfully cringe, except latter parts of the debate where she actually loosens up and starts speaking off the top of her head. And then she calls Vivek Ramaswamy and therefore anybody who supports him dumb. That probably wasn't a good move.